The mystery of Henry McCabe's disappearance and subsequent death in Minnesota during the summer of 2015 continues to haunt the minds of investigators and the public alike. This isn't just another unsolved case. It's a puzzle wrapped in an enigma, a mystery that defies easy answers. The circumstances surrounding his demise are shrouded in an unsettling ambiguity, a tapestry woven from threads of bewilderment and dread. The chilling final voicemail he left for his loved ones, a ghostly echo of a voice tinged with an inexplicable unease, only deepens the mystery, casting a long and unsettling shadow over the entire affair. This case, a haunting reminder of life's vulnerability and the enduring power of the unknown, continues to captivate and perplex, a testament to the endearing human fascination with the unexplainable. Henry McCabe, a vibrant spirit with a gentle soul, was a pillar of his community. This 32-year-old Liberian immigrant, having found solace in the heartland of Minnesota, had built a life brimming with purpose. As a tax auditor, he diligently served his adopted home, his days filled with the quiet satisfaction of honest work. But more importantly, he was a devoted husband and father, a beacon of love and support within his family. On that fateful Labor Day, September 6, 2015, the air crackled with the promise of festivity. Henry, along with a circle of friends, embraced the spirit of the holiday, seeking respite from the everyday grind. The local bar, a haven of merriment, became the backdrop for their celebration, a symphony of laughter, clinking glasses, and shared stories that filled the air with a sense of camaraderie. However, as the night deepened, an unforeseen darkness would soon descend upon this seemingly ordinary gathering. The early morning hours of that fateful night, the air thick with the chill of winter, witnessed the end of an evening out with friends. McCabe, his mind likely still buzzing with the remnants of the social gathering, was dropped off by his friend at a gas station in the nearby city of Fridley. The gas station, bathed in the cold, harsh glow of its fluorescent lights, became the last known point of contact with the young man. His friend, perhaps a touch too trusting, assumed that McCabe, despite his intoxicated state, would find his way home. After all, it was a familiar route, a journey he had undoubtedly undertaken countless times before. However, McCabe had left behind more than just his friends that night. He had left behind his wallet, the lifeline that connected him to his home, his identity, his very existence. He had also left behind his keys. That night, as the hours crept by, a sense of unease began to settle over those who knew and loved McCabe. The silence that followed his departure grew heavier with each passing moment. The last time anyone saw Henry McCabe alive, he stood alone under the cold, indifferent gaze of the night sky, his future covered in an uncertain fog. The silence that followed McCabe's departure stretched into an agonizing eternity. Corinne McCabe, at home, waited patiently for her husband to return, a quiet anticipation gradually giving way to a gnawing unease. Then the phone rang, the shrill sound shattering the stillness of the night. Corinne answered the call, her heart pounding in her chest. But instead of her husband's familiar voice, she was met with a cacophony of disturbing sounds, groans, screams, and unintelligible utterances echoed through the receiver, a chilling symphony of distress that sent shivers down her spine. As the unsettling sounds continued, a horrifying realization dawned upon her. These were not the sounds of a drunken revelry, but something far more menacing. Towards the end of the recording, a sound that seemed to defy description pierced through the noise, a desperate, strangled gasp, as if air was being violently forced from someone's lungs. The sound was so visceral, so utterly terrifying, that Corinne felt a wave of nausea wash over her. Then, just as abruptly as it had begun, the recording ended, leaving her with a deafening silence, a silence broken only by the frantic beating of her own heart. The line went dead, leaving Corinne alone with the chilling echoes of her husband's final, desperate cries. The silence that followed was profound, a remembrance of the brittleness of life and the terrifying unpredictability of the world. This voicemail, a distorted echo of McCabe's last moments, became the haunting centerpiece of the investigation. It played on repeat in Corinne's mind, each listen offering a fresh wave of dread and uncertainty. The groans, the screams, the unintelligible sounds all painted a disturbing picture of a man in distress, perhaps in unimaginable pain or terror. The sound that resonated most deeply in Corinne's memory, however, was the scary gasp, a desperate, strangled sound that seemed to capture the very essence of his struggle. It was a sound that haunted her dreams, a constant reminder of the unknown horror that had befallen her husband. Speculation ran rampant in the wake of this chilling discovery. Was McCabe injured? Was he the victim of a crime? Had he fallen victim to foul play? The possibilities, each more terrifying than the last, tormented Corinne's mind. Some speculated that the sounds might indicate a struggle, a desperate fight for survival against an unseen assailant. Others feared the worst, imagining a horrifying scenario involving an animal attack, the sounds of a testament to his final moments of terror. But amidst the swirling theories and chilling speculations, one thing remained certain: the voicemail. A testament to McCabe's final moments, offered a glimpse into the unknown. The days that followed McCabe's disappearance were a blur of frantic activity, a desperate scramble to find any trace of him. The small town of Fridley, usually a quiet enclave of suburban life, was transformed into a hive of activity. Law enforcement officers, their faces etched with concern, combed through the surrounding area, their flashlights piercing the darkness as they searched for any sign of the missing man. Volunteers, their hearts heavy with worry, joined the search effort, their numbers swelling as word of McCabe's disappearance spread through the community. Neighbors, friends, and concerned citizens scoured the nearby woods, their eyes scanning every inch of the landscape, their ears straining for any sound, any clue that might lead them to the missing man. Days turned into weeks, and the initial wave of frenzied activity began to subside, replaced by a more somber, methodical search. Yet, despite these extensive efforts, the search yielded little. No clues, no leads, no trace of McCabe. The silence that followed each fruitless day was deafening, a constant remembrance of the growing despair and the agonizing uncertainty that hung heavy over the community. The vibrant energy that had initially fueled the search effort, a testament to the community's collective hope, gradually waned, replaced by a sense of dread. Corinne McCabe, her heart heavy with worry, watched helplessly as the days turned into weeks, each one a cruel memento of her husband's absence. She clung to the faintest glimmer of hope, desperately searching for any sign, any clue that might lead her back to him. Publicly, she maintained a brave front, her voice strong as she appealed to the community for any information, any piece of the puzzle that might help bring him home. The initial outpouring of support from the community began to dwindle, replaced by a darker acceptance of the grim reality. The agonizing waits finally ended abruptly on November 2nd, 2015, 2 months after McCabe vanished without a trace. A terrifying discovery shattered the fragile hope that still lingered within the community. In the serene, placid waters of Rush Lake, a mere 6 miles from the gas station where McCabe had last been seen, a kayaker stumbled upon a horrifying sight. Peering into the depths of the lake, they saw a lifeless form, a human figure submerged beneath the surface. The news spread through the community like wildfire, sending a wave of shock and disbelief through the town. Law enforcement officers, their faces bleak, swiftly arrived at the scene. The lake, once a tranquil haven of natural beauty, now bore witness to a tragic end. Divers, their movements deliberate and solemn, carefully retrieved the body from the depths of the water. The discovery, though bringing an end to the agonizing search, brought with it a fresh wave of grief and a profound sense of loss. The autopsy, a sterile and clinical procedure, offered little solace to the grieving family. The medical examiner, tasked with the awful responsibility of determining the cause of death, concluded that McCabe had drowned. However, the autopsy report, while confirming the tragic outcome, offered few concrete answers. The medical examiner's report revealed no significant signs of trauma, no evidence of a struggle, no wounds that suggested he had been the victim of violence. The absence of any obvious injuries raised perplexing questions. Had McCabe fallen into the water accidentally? Was he disoriented under the influence of alcohol and unable to find his way back to safety? The toxicology reports confirmed the presence of alcohol in his system, but whether it played a significant role in his demise remains a mystery. Some speculated that McCabe, disoriented and under the influence of alcohol, had stumbled upon the icy waters of the lake in the darkness of night, his judgment clouded and his movements impaired. This theory, while plausible, failed to explain the lack of any visible injuries any sign of a struggle that might have preceded his fall. Others, however, whispered of darker possibilities. Had he been the victim of foul play, a victim of violence that had ended his life and cast a long shadow over the community? These unsettling questions, fueled by fear and uncertainty, lingered in the minds of the townspeople. The lack of concrete evidence, the absence of a clear and definitive explanation, only served to fuel the speculation. The most plausible yet unsettling theory pointed towards accidental drowning. The image of McCabe, disoriented and intoxicated, stumbling into the frigid waters of Rush Lake, painted a picture of a life tragically cut short. However, this theory, while logical, raised more questions than it answered. How could a man, disoriented though he may have been, have traveled 6 miles from the gas station where he was last seen? A journey that would have required significant effort and a degree of awareness that seemed incompatible with his presumed state of intoxication. The absence of any signs of trauma on his body further complicated this theory, leaving investigators and the community alike searching for answers. The specter of foul play, however, lingered in the background. Some whispered of a sinister plot, of a malevolent force that had lured McCabe into a trap, a victim of violence that had ended his life. However, the autopsy, with its lack of evidence of any struggle or trauma, cast doubt on this theory. Desperate for answers, some ventured into the realm of supernatural. The eerie voicemail, with its unsettling sounds and chilling undertones, seemed to fuel these speculations. Could supernatural forces have been at play? Was it possible that McCabe had encountered something beyond human comprehension, something that had plunged him into the icy depths of the lake? These theories, while highly unlikely, reflected the desperation of those searching for answers in a case shrouded in mystery. The discovery of Henry McCabe's body in Rush Lake, while offering a degree of closure, raised more questions than it answered. A shroud of mystery still hung over the events of that fateful night, leaving his family and the community grappling with unanswered questions and lingering doubts. Corrine, McCabe's wife, endured the most profound pain, her world forever altered by the absence of her beloved husband. The silence that had once been a mere absence of sound now felt like a suffocating presence, a constant, agonizing reminder of the unanswered questions that haunted her every waking moment. The lack of concrete evidence, the absence of a clear and definitive explanation, left a gaping hole in the narrative, a void that continued to torment those who knew and loved him. As we close this episode, our thoughts and condolences are with the victims' families for all our stories. As always, we thank you for your support. Don't forget to subscribe to Crime Cat Podcast for more bone-chilling, wicked, and twisted episodes.